In the city car segment, there's nothing quite like a smart ForFour. That might sound a strange thing to say, given that this car borrows so much both from the brand's smaller 4.2 model and from its Renault Twingo design stablemate. These ingredients, though, have been put together with care and flair to create quite an aspirational premium choice in this class. There's a price to pay for this, of course, but it's not exorbitant, and the issues of practicality, efficiency and connectivity have all been very cleverly thought through. In short, if you're shopping in this segment, you'd probably like one. This car comes to us as part of a joint development that's also brought us the third generation Renault Twingo, and as with that model, the engineering's slick enough to disguise the unusual configuration. Take a drive in this ForFour, and if you didn't already know that the engine was in the back, you'd be unlikely to guess the fact, which is probably about as big a compliment as I could pay Smart regarding this ForFour's handling neutrality. Essentially, though the driving position is a little more commanding than most, in every other respect, on first acquaintance at least, this feels just like any other modestly powered city runabout. Or at least it does until you come to tightly twirl the wheel. In this car, the front wheels can turn to an impressive 45-degree angle. More typically, urban runabouts are limited to about 30 degrees. As a result, this car offers a super tight turning circle of just 8.65 metres. Here I'm using the engine most buyers will opt for, the 71 brake horsepower 1-litre petrol unit. 3 cylinders in size, as is common in this segment, but offering a mere 91 Newton-metres of pulling power, which explains the distinctly leisurely performance. If you really can't face going quite that slowly and feel prepared to pay a little more for your 4.4, then your smart salesperson will quickly direct you towards the other mainstream engine on offer, the more modern 90 brake horsepower unit the brand has borrowed from Renault. It too is a 3-cylinder, similarly sized petrol power plant, but here the addition of turbocharging makes quite a difference, upping pulling power by nearly 50% to a heady 135 Newton meters, and improving the 0 to 62 mile an hour time to a more acceptable and probably more achievable 11.2 seconds. A Smart needs to look like one, as this ForFour does. So there's the familiar distinctive outline of the Tritium safety cell as part of the usual fashionable two-tone paint finish, and a design that's pretty much identical to that of the brand's smaller 4.2 model from the A-pillars forward. Basing this car on Smart's tiniest offering means that this second generation 4.4 must be a size smaller than it was in Mark 1 model guise, city car rather than super mini shaped. In fact, it's very small indeed, the mere 350 centimetre length, making this 5-door design actually more compact than 3-door city cars like Fiat's 500 and Ford's Ka. Indeed, it's only 80 centimetres longer than the minuscule 4.2. To facilitate this, the bonnet's tiny, helping with a turning circle that's tighter than that of a taxi. Such are the benefits of Smart's decision to put the engine in the rear. Being rear-engine defines this 3.5-metre-long car in other ways too. With no oily bits at the pointy end, the wheels can be pushed right out to the corners, which improves stability, as well as increasing cabin space to such an extent that the interior of this 4.4 is virtually as big as that of a Fiesta-sized Super Mini from the next class up. As a result, some have hailed this design as one of the most significant small runabouts we've seen since the original Mini. It's smartly fashionable in here too, the dashboard a two-piece affair with the upper part trimmed in a lovely mesh effect fabric coating that looks great, though I wouldn't want to have to try and get melted chocolate out of it. This can be colour coordinated alongside the central seat facings and the middle panels in the doors with orange, blue or, as in this case, black themes, depending on the model you choose. Most eyes, though, will be drawn towards the centre console, particularly in a plush model like this one fitted with the brand's clever smart media system with its 7-inch touchscreen display and 3D navigation setup. Otherwise, your main tools of operating functionality are housed in the semicircular binnacle that you view through the 3-spoke leather-trimmed multifunction steering wheel. You'll be expecting low running costs from your ForFour, and by and large they don't disappoint. The 71 brake horsepower 1 litre ForFour model I'm trying here is capable of returning 67.3 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 97 grams per kilometre of CO2, which, as you'd anticipate, is pretty much the same as you get in the equivalent version of this car's Renault Twingo design stablemate, and only fractionally more than you'd record at the wheel of Smart's tiny 4.2. Go for the other mainstream ForFour engine option, the 90 brake horsepower 0.9 litre turbo unit, and your fuel and CO2 figures will stay much the same. Expect 65.7 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 99 grams per kilometre of CO2. All these figures are extremely class competitive, and whatever your engine choice, opting for the Twinamic automatic gearbox has virtually no impact on your running cost returns. Here at last is a smart model that can really build on the success of the brand's little 4.2. This ForFour takes all that's good about that little city runabout and adds the extra seating and versatility that many urban buyers will need. Yes, some other rivals might be cheaper, slightly more efficient, or a little better built. In buying any one of them, though, you'll miss out on the cleverness that you'll enjoy every day in ownership of this car. When marvelling at how easy it is to see out of, how simple it is to park, and how tightly it can turn. An ordinary conventional city car can't function in this way, and after driving a ForFour, you might start to wonder why. Here, perhaps, you might think, is a more definitive take on fashionable city motoring. ForFour.